Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. If you like what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button, give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Wednesday, February 5th, 2020. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
It is time to do it again. It's the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing and Cam Stewart. We are in Las Vegas. I spent a week with Cam yesterday.
Brian's the best.
Oh my God!
I thought he was a nice guy. Brian
He was a wonderful guy.
Brian, that's just me. I talk to everyone.
We're in a sports book lounge, and we're sitting there, and I've got the over 1.5 in like 3 games in the first period, and there's like 7 minutes to go in the period, and they finally get I think it was Colorado Buffalo. They finally get a goal. And you and I are arguing because you want Colorado. I'm like, okay, great. I just want goals. I don't care who gets them. And some guy walks up out of nowhere and goes, well, there's a long way to go in a hockey game. You're getting all antsy in the first period. I go, yeah, well, there's like not a long way to go. There's like 6 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. I bet the first period. The guy's like, oh, well, 35 minutes later, he's still talking to Cam.
Bobby Orr's a nice guy.
The guy, nice guy. Guy's from Boston. I mean, my God, he's all the way back to Fred Stanfield and Dave Keon. Okay, first the earth cooled, then the dinosaurs came. They got too fat and died and turned into oil. And Bobby Orr, I'm like, what? Who? And
the best thing about that guy, Brian, his eyebrows had its own haircut. Those things were long.
Well, you could put a drink on those, but. But literally, so then I go over to see some friends at the counter, get us some drink tickets. Now I come back, and Cam and his beloved are now in a knee-deep political discussion about the State of the Union address and the Canadian Prime Minister. And I'm sitting there going, what the hell did I walk into?
Well, those people from Montana liked our political views, Brian. Hopefully they liked the picks today, too. They were strong. Colorado in the over. We hit a lot of stuff. Actually, Montreal even came back, Brian.
Yes, they did.
Crazy game. So, yeah, I looked at my account, and it was plus money, and that's all we can do is have plus.
And that's all we do.
Yeah,
you are the best, buddy. I will tell you.
I love you, buddy. I love you, too. No, I don't know where my girlfriend is right now, but, hey, that's par for the course. It seems to happen when we go down to Vegas. Most chicks leave for an hour. She leaves for 24.
Hey, I got to say, I'll come over and calm you down. We'll play a pick 3 over at Tampa Bay.
Sounds good, Brian. Sounds good. What do we got? 2 tonight.
Only 2. And
I see a 7.
Well,
7.
Here we go. Toronto, the Rangers. Toronto's laying $1.35. Total on the game is 7. Now, we saw a 7 Saturday with the Toronto and Ottawa game, and they were skating in quicksand. But here we go. You've got Anderson nicked up. Hutchison's playing. What are the Leafs going to do with the goalie situation? Hutchison, they got it done against Ottawa the other night, but he's got an .886 save percentage. But he's going against the Igor Shesterkin, who's three. Is that like? Is that like a turducken?
Yeah, what I used to like the company I used to pimp, Turducken.
Turducken.
Christmas meats.
It always comes back to street meat. 927 save percentage, and this is the kid that literally has got all the rumblings about what do they do with Lundqvist. I don't know,
Brian, because one of the teams that the Leafs were looking at making a deal with was the Rangers, right? Like the Leafs have always been tied to Georgiev. Like they really wanted him, and the Rangers wanted the house, the kitchen sink, and your property for the goaltender too. That's why nothing's ever really went down. They've always been sniffing around, and they were hoping that, you know what, with the situation going on, do they make a pitch for Lundqvist? Like this is the perfect time to do it. Like if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, like you got to go. Like you can't win with Hutchison. It's been proven. The Florida game was, Florida came back, Florida in the over. We told people about the over in Florida, and that was with Anderson. With Hutchison, bam, there was 5 goals in the third period, and it went over. So I got to think the Leafs, before the trade deadline. They need a starting goaltender, and the situation was tough before because he would have played behind Freddie Anderson, but now you got to think they got to make a move, and they're going to have to give up a hell of a lot for it because they can't. Hutchison, he's a backup goaltender. Let's just call it out for what it is, and if the Leafs are going to win games, they're going to have to score 4 or 5 goals. So it might seem crazy, but I wouldn't be betting the under in this game.
Well, would this be the first time in history that we would use the GM angle, that the Rangers are going, go put the Sasquatch foot on them, go out and kill them, and then they're desperate, and we'll get a hell of a lot more for them when we give them Lundqvist?
Exactly. Like we're just throwing this out. We're obviously we're sports bettors. You're pretty tight with Vegas. You know, we follow the league, but I'm not in any dressing rooms or anything like that. Hell, I used to cover. I don't go reporting. We just bet on this stuff. But you know it's happening, Brian. And this is a team that Toronto really has been, like, for a long time linked to a goaltender. Which one with the Rangers? They weren't sure, but it's going to happen. And I got to be honest with you, the Rangers as a home dog looks pretty enticing. But the Leafs understand, too, with Hutchison, they have to play that up-and-down style to win, right? So, I don't know. Who do you like in this game? You tell me. It's a tough one.
The crazy thing is, you saw the 7 the other night, and Ottawa and Toronto couldn't do anything. But that's a pass. But I would honestly, you're getting a plus price over 7. I mean, is it going to shock you if this game is 7-4? But the thing is, the Rangers kid's been good.
Yes, he has. Yeah. And it's weird. Maybe the Leafs buckle down. Like, I'm not going to play the under in this game, but I'm not going to play the over. You're right. I'm going to pass, and I'm not going to lay 35 cents with the Leafs. The next game, though, I think I can, we could talk about this one. Boston, 60 cents in Chicago. Chicago's playing a lot better, Brian, but Boston's one of those teams. They understand what they need to do. They're a good team. They can basically get it done. I think the total's too high in this game. I would go on the under. I like Boston, and I like the under in this game. Chicago's goaltending's been great. You talked about it, Leonard. Crawford's playing for money, which is the best thing you can do in sports. When you know what's my next contract, you're playing for cash. I gotta like the under. 6 in this game, I'd go under. I don't know what your opinion is.
We don't. I'm taking a pass tonight. I honestly, but the funny thing is, we don't disagree often. But I would actually take a shot at the over in this game.
Really?
Okay. Boston's been scoring goals consistently. Halak is playing. You get a good goalie every time with Boston. You know that. But you had Chicago, who was on a 3-game overrun before they played Arizona and Minnesota. Are either of those teams offensive juggernauts?
No. Very, very the opposite. Exactly.
Yeah, and prior to that, Chicago had lost 4-3 to the Panthers. They beat the Jets 5-2, and they beat the Leafs 6-2, and beat the Canadiens 4-1. I mean, Chicago consistently scores goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Boston's the type of team that could really tone it down defensively, Brian.
No, they can, but it's an out-of-conference game. You know, I mean, I'm whatever, buddy. I mean, you do what you got to do, and we don't disagree often. But I don't like it to the point that I would lean the. Honestly, if I had to lean tonight, I'd take a shot with the dog with the Rangers, and I'd take the over in the Boston-Chicago game. But I ain't doing either one. But those would be my leans.
Yeah, and I lean under in this game, and I'd go with Boston. In the other game, I really well. Let's talk Thursday then, right? Like,
but buddy, look. Honestly, think about this. Monday and the Tuesday games, the last podcast we did, we said, "Man, this is tough. There's a lot of tough games." So you don't have to just go diving off the 10-meter platform every day. All right, let's go to tomorrow. Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. Tampa's $1.50. Total on the game is 6.5. Tampa Bay played a good game against Vegas, hard-fought game, and they get the W. This Pittsburgh thing is just unbelievable to me. How these guys just keep winning and winning and winning. They beat the Caps 4-3, and they've actually been. You talk about getting freshened up. This is an odd one at this time of the year, Cam. They get 3.5 days between games. They're going to get a good practice in. They're heading down to Florida, get a little sun. I'm kind of like Pittsburgh.
Yeah. The thing is, and we talked about this, though, breaks with good teams, sometimes it works to be the opposite. When we're playing great, Brian, it's like blackjack. We don't want to leave the table. When the horses are good, every track numbers are popping at us.
Well,
so
what's the definition of a break, though? You know what I mean?
I know where you're coming from. I
guess my point is
the Vegas game last night, right? And I'll tell you one thing: Tampa Bay doesn't, even though they're great, they don't make anything easy on themselves. For a team that's supposed to be so much better than everybody else, I totally disagree. And if Pittsburgh wants to be one of the best teams in the league, which they are, and they get no respect from the bookmakers, getting 30, 35 cents. Yeah, I think I would look at Pittsburgh in this game. It's hard to bet against Tampa Bay, and I got a belief even with 6.5, I gotta see goals in this game, right? They'd like to open it up, but yeah. I think it's a good.
Well, and we'll move on. The only thing I'm saying, it's a 3-day break, and I hear you about a break, but what is the definition of break? But at this late date of a season, the benefit with a 3-day break, these guys, when they play every other night or back-to-back nights, look, they never get to practice and work on things. So with a 3-day break, he gives them a day off, but then they can come back and have a good 90-minute, 2-hour practice and work on things that they never get to do. And I think that's an advantage.
No, it is an advantage. You covered the Sabres. You understand the ebbs and flows of this thing. Even though the game has changed, that hasn't changed. These guys are creatures of habit. When they get good practices in, good things happen, Brian. I'm just saying, like Pittsburgh, they're being devalued by the market. They're a very good hockey team. The goaltender, Jari's been good. Like, it's just everything about these guys. Like, you could have rode them off this season, and they deserve, in my opinion, probably they get an A+ for what they've done. It's shocking how good they've been with the injuries they've had.
All right, kid. This game, Jersey and Philly. Philly's laying 220. The total is
Jersey.
6. I like this one over.
I like this over too, and I'd take a look at the dog. First of all, Philadelphia. They had problems scoring goals against the Detroit Red Wings. I'll give them credit. They played a defensive-style game. They won 3-0. But New Jersey, what have we learned about New Jersey? Again, Brian, battled. They were in that game against Montreal, right? They're hanging in there. They got no goaltending. That's the problem. So, to Brian's point, over. I would look at the dog. You're getting almost $2 with the New Jersey Devils against a Philadelphia team that can lay an egg sometimes. So, if you like the Flyers and you think they're going to win a parlay, I'd be very, very careful with this minus 220 favorite. But I do agree with you 100%. The over could be the best play of the game.
What are the odds makers thinking, Cam? Buffalo
minus 230
against Detroit. The total on the game is 6. Now, the Sabres have run for the bus. It's unbelievable.
We watched that game last night. That was tough to watch, Brian. No, it looked like a high school team. Like, these guys are running around in their own end. Colorado is toying with them. There's no cohesion. The Sabres are horrible. Like, for me, it's Detroit over or nothing in this game, right?
Well, the thing we should throw out there, we knew the Hutton thing was just not going to work. And so in the middle of the game, they bring one of their prospects. They throw the Jonas Johansson kid into the game. First shot he faces, Landeskog, bar down.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's like, welcome to the NHL. Well, the kid actually calmed down and played pretty good. The kid's making his end and I think it's a benefit for him that he got in against Colorado. The Jonas Johansson kid, I think they're going to ride this kid for a couple of weeks because Hutton couldn't stop a medicine ball.
No, Hutton's, he had one good game, and it's been proven he can't play in the National Hockey League. Seems like a good guy, but hey, it's a tough world we live in, Brian. We know that, right? Look at the Super Bowl, what happened to us there. That was very frustrating. Buffalo, minus 230. Are you kidding me? Like, I look at that
That's
price.
Nuts.
It's just ridiculous. They should have made Buffalo minus 160 in this game. Odds makers have truly no respect for Detroit, and this is the type of game Detroit could win. I'm going to take Detroit, Brian. As far as I'm looking right now, Tampa. So what have we said? We usually have themes that work, like the butcher and salami and extra meat. And right now I'm looking at our old friend, Brian. Start up the truck, buddy. Let's go catch some dogs because me and you are dog catchers right now. I'm looking at the Devils plus 185, Pittsburgh plus 130. The Red Wings, a nasty pooch with rabies. We got to corral him at plus 195. And even the next game, how the hell do you lay over $2 with the Islanders? The Kings have been in like a lot of tight games. I actually think I might bet the Kings in this game at plus 170.
Total there's 5.5.
What do you think? You tell me. Like, I'm loving the dogs right now.
Well, all of a sudden, the Islanders aren't playing that well. Now, they beat the Stars 4-3.
I was on the Islanders, yeah.
I know you were. And the funny thing is, though, the Islanders, when they play, they want to be a counterpuncher and they want to play close to the vest. Well, they played the mirror image of themselves, and the game was 4-3. So the last 3 games for the Islanders, a 4-2 win against the Rangers, a 4-3 loss to the Canucks, and a 4-3 win over the Stars, all of a sudden the Islanders aren't as sound in their own end as they've been, and they're scoring goals, and the total here is only 5.5.
Yeah, maybe you're onto something, Brian. I don't know if it's gonna be like the Dallas Stars game. I wouldn't lean under in this game. I'm just saying, be very, very careful. Like, I don't do this very often, but I'm looking at the board, and I might play every single underdog on this card. And if you go 500, you can make a lot of money right there. I think these prices are way out of whack. What would you like? I would have made the Islanders $1.70 over the Kings, not $2. And I know by game time, that's probably going to be about $2.20 because no one bets the Kings.
Well, that's why we bet hockey, because the numbers, there's some opportunities. Again,
like, look at the next game. The next game, there's opportunity. The Montreal Canadiens, we talked about. I've actually been on them, Brian. You know what I mean? Like,
well, let me come back. Let me come back at you 1 second. Everything you just said, right? Now we got opening numbers. I'm betting you by tomorrow. You're telling me the Sabres laying 230? Like, that game's not going to come down to like $1.90.
Yep.
And what you're just saying about the Islanders game, you don't think that game's going to come down to $1.60, $1.70? I think we're onto something here.
No, we are onto something. Like, when you come down to play ponies, I'm going to go look, and when these games are available, I'm going to smash right now. I'm going to get line value with these dogs, and I'll smash. Up and put more than $20. Whatever I got in my wallet type of thing. I'm ready to go, Brian. And I'll tell you, the next game, Montreal, I like to come back at home. Now, this is another game, like Montreal laying 180 against Anaheim. Like, no thanks. Like, Anaheim's no good, but the Canadiens shouldn't be minus 180 in this situation, and 5.5 the total. The Canadiens are playing games to the over, right?
I mean, give the guy full marks, but with Thomas Tatar, he's your leading scorer.
Yeah, exactly. Like, give me a break. Like, yeah, they you know what? They good on Montreal. I've been riding them. They came back against Jersey. They've looked good the last couple games. And the scary thing about Montreal totals is Carey Price. If Carey Price decides to be Carey Price, I don't care if you've got the over, you're done. Once he's in that zone, Montreal will win that 2-1, 3-0 type of game. Like, he looks like he's really figured it out recently, and that's good because he was struggling earlier. So for me, Brian, I'd look at Anaheim in the spot. I'm not laying 180 with Montreal, so I'm going to take the page out of your book. Pass.
We'd like to thank BetChrisCanada.net for their support of the Hockey Betting Podcast. I'm Brian Blessing in sunny Las Vegas.
And I'm Cam Stewart in cold Toronto, Canada.
If you love hockey and you're in Canada, and Cam is, by the All-Star break, even if you can't stop thinking about taking a vacation someplace sunny and warm, but you don't want to miss out on any of the hockey action, look for a BetChris near your next holiday destination.
BetChris is one of the leading sports books in the Western Hemisphere, with hundreds of sports betting locations throughout the Caribbean and Latin America.
Watch the game at a BetChris location. Food and drink specials and VIP lounges are available at many BetChris locations. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open your BetChris account.
Place some bets on your game and collect your cash at the window when the game is over.
BetChris offers single bets, parlay bets, teasers, and more on pregame and live odds for hockey and all your favorite Canadian and American sports leagues. And BetChris offers a variety of team and player props, including futures.
BetChris offers the best value odds on Canadian and international sports. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open up your account at a BetChris location. Deposit $750 or more and get up to a 40% reduced commission on your sports bets, up to minus 106 on single bets and parlay bets. That's the best juice in the biz.
So, if you're planning a trip to exotic locations from the Caribbean and Mexico to Peru and almost everywhere in between, the odds are very good. There's a BetChris sportsbook where you're going on holiday. For more information about visiting a BetChris location while you're on holiday, or to listen to or subscribe to the Hockey Betting Podcast, visit BetChrisCanada.net. That's BetChrisCanada.net. Cam, you're Canadian. When you leave Canada and you're heading south, use the promo code PODCAST. Well, Vegas and Florida, and here we go. Yesterday or Monday, when we were getting ready for the Vegas game, said, and I said, I'm not doing it. Automatic fade Tampa, first game home in 21 days. And Vegas, there was something to me about having 3 days in Florida where, they get in there, DeBoer's trying to install some stuff, but then they watch the Super Bowl. Who knows if they golfed, and Tampa's good. And I said, boy, that scares me. I love that angle, but I'm not going to play it. And sure enough, Vegas played a good game, but Tampa got the win. Well, here's the same deal. Florida is coming back from the long road trip, Cam. Yep. It's been an automatic fade for us all year long. This is the first game back from a 6-game road trip. But you know what? I'm not playing Vegas either. And I'll tell you why. They're going to be playing their first home game in a month on Saturday against Carolina. And I think Carolina, to me, would be, with revenge on the mind, is almost, I'll give you in advance, say Vegas got they got a tiger by the tail coming up on Saturday.
For sure.
But the thing for me is Vegas is playing this game with Florida, and you haven't been home literally for a month. Don't you think their head's on the plane halfway through the game?
That's kind of the thing. And you know me, Brian. If this game was a back-to-back, I'd probably look at Vegas more. But it's, we get that little bit of a break in between. That's good news for Florida. I think Florida, they'll be fine. Like, that's the thing. I know one of those things, you take teams back from the road trip, but you also have to look at each game individually. And what I saw from Vegas in the Tampa Bay game is a team that looked a little bit heartbroken after that game. I think Florida understands what they need to do. They got to win against Toronto. They catch Vegas at a nice time in a road trip, right? I kind of lean Florida, and it's a pick 'em price. I think the Panthers are the play, and this game is 6.5. I would expect fireworks in this game. Like, one thing about Florida is they give up goals with Bobrovsky and they score goals. 6.5 looks high, but I would expect fireworks in this game. I think the winning team probably gets 5 or 6 goals, but I lean Panthers in this game. I agree with you.
Yeah, I'd be leery of the total, but I would say, because I think Fleury looks a lot better.
He does.
I mean, and Barkov's out, and it's their first game home. It's weird. Yeah. It's a weird game.
I kind of lean Florida, though. I kind of lean Florida.
No, I don't disagree with that. The total, though, scares me. The over looks so obvious. There's something telling me it's an under game. Colorado and Ottawa. If you want to say, okay, here's a weird one. Why is Colorado only?
That's my point.
Only $1.80. Why? What is the? You know what I did yesterday? I finally, because I always do say this, Cam. People say to me, "Who do you like to win the cup?" I go, I don't know. Talk to me at the end of February after the trade deadline.
Yep.
And this, to me, there's just no doubt that this number is coming down. And I finally, because I think they're the best team in the West. I bet Colorado. I did it yesterday. I bet Colorado 12-1 to win the cup. That number is going to come down. That number is going to come down to 8-1, 7-1 at some point. Because, again, we get to the point, all these things that happen in a regular season and all the scheduling nonsense we talk about. But when you get in a series and you're playing the same team every other night, from a matchup perspective, Colorado's a nightmare.
They are. And we saw, it was the Sabres, but it was like men versus boys. This is a road game that didn't even try in. They were skating circles around these guys. Look at the guys they have, too. You could say bad deals, but the addition of Kadri in the playoffs is going to be huge for these guys if he doesn't take
you nailed it. Listen, when you get to the playoffs.
That's why people don't understand. The Leafs leaked these guys. Did they? No. Colorado's actually smart. They got Cale Makar, all these other guys, and then you go pick up a guy that's tough with sandpaper for the playoffs.
It's even better.
To protect McKinnon and to do all the other things that they need to do. If you get Colorado at anything more than 10-1 right now, I would consider it a very, very good place.
Buddy,
in this spot big time.
Let me tell you something about Colorado. McKinnon and Landeskog and Makar. But I'm telling you, to survive in the playoffs, they had a guy that was awesome last year. But now there's two, because Kadri's the same guy. Let me tell you something. You talk about a war horse and stats and all this, and if they go on and win the cup, the guy is going to be one of the keys for it. Calvert is he's a monster in the playoffs.
He does all the little things that
he's great.
That's the thing. People look at a lot of the time, superstars go to die in the playoffs, right? You expect them and they turn into snowflakes. Whereas guys like Kadri and Calvert, those are the guys you go to war with. And that's how the St. Louis Blues, how did they win the Stanley Cup? Take a look at the big, strong defensemen, bruising forwards, tough guys who have been there, done that. Those are the teams that you look for. I don't look for finesse teams. I hate to say it. That's why the Leafs are going nowhere. They're a finesse team. They're not tough enough. They'll get murdered in the playoffs. Colorado, on the other hand, they can beat you with skill. They can beat you with toughness. And this line, Brian, should be 240. If you like it, put Colorado and parlays are on the puck line now. Whatever you do, sign me up with the Avalanche. If it's a trap, I fell in.
Now, Cam, I don't see a total here yet, but I think I like this game. Vancouver is it Minnesota. Minnesota's laying 25, 30 cents in this spot. But is there any chance, would they somehow throw us a bone? And could they give us a 5.5? Because, Minnesota on a road trip. By the way, last game of a road trip. Another thing, Vancouver, their head's going to be on the plane. Same thing. But they 5-2 at the Sharks, 4-3 at the Islanders, lose 4-3 to the Hurricanes. But then they play Boston and lose 4-0. Well, there's no disgrace in that. But Minnesota is a team. They're coming off a 3-2 win over the Blackhawks. But prior to that, gave up 6 to Boston, beat the Red Wings 4-2, and lost 5-4 to the Panthers. I think this is a sneaky over, and I got a funny feeling the odds makers might get fooled by that last game and throw us a 5.5. It's probably going to be 6, but I think I like Vancouver.
I'll take it at 6, and we'd love it at 5.5. It'll probably be 6, but maybe juice to the over. I think that's something that we look at. As for Vancouver, they've been playing pretty well. Hey, it's as I told you, Brian, remember we were watching the game, it was minus 200 versus Boston. I love Boston in that spot against them, but we didn't want to lay the juice, so you put it in parlays. But Vancouver also understands their head might be on the plane, but they know they can beat Minnesota too. So I expect goals in this game, and I would look at the dog. I would say I like the over more, but Vancouver can beat many, and you're getting a plus price on them. But I love over 5.5. We'd love that, and 6, we'd still take the over.
Yeah. Then Winnipeg's at St. Louis. Listen, the one thing about St. Louis laying $1.75 here, that was a game that we hit. It was a weird one. That St. Louis Carolina game said, something about that game. I like the over in that game. 6-3 was the final. Currently, we think of St. Louis as this big, mean, nasty team. When you get to the point with good goaltending. Listen, man, they've been playing high-scoring games.
Yeah, St. Louis is a team. Yeah, they're not automatically unders. Winnipeg's going to have to do something too, right, Brian? The bottom line is they have to open it up eventually. This is a team that's lingering right now. They're man, they got to really find ways to get points. So it's going to be tough. But this total will be low too. What do you expect this one? 5.5? That's a tough game.
It'll be 5.5.
I'm going to have to pass on this game.
There's nothing wrong with that. All right,
to pass.
All right, here's the deal, and let me just double check and make sure. And bingo. Okay, we got a daily double for you. Little theme here on our Wednesday.
Nice.
I'll see you shortly. Carolina's at Arizona. Now, what I've been talking about with Arizona all year long, and I don't know the answer. I know I did try to throw the red flag up. Did you jump on Edmonton?
Yeah, I know. I had a really good night, so I felt like I was really feeling it. But you're right. That one, you were absolutely correct.
All right. Well, but the reasons why were the letdown for Edmonton after the Calgary thing. But the thing is, the thing we said, when Arizona wins a game, get on them, because they had lost 5. They've done this all year long. They lose 5, they win 5. They are the streakiest team I've ever seen. And they said, as soon as Arizona wins, I'm getting on Arizona. And I'll tell you what, I like Arizona in this game in a pick against Carolina. Then Carolina coming off a loss, going to play Vegas on Saturday. First game home from the long road trip with revenge. I'll like Carolina on Saturday. So there's your daily double. I like the Coyotes howling at the moon. Howling at the moon. And then the winds will be blowing at T-Mobile on Saturday with the Hurricanes.
Yeah, the thing about Arizona, as you said it, some teams are weird. They do it in bunches, right? So that's one of the things. I'll take a shot with the Coyotes at a pick 'em. They look they were really tight defensively against Edmonton that game, and maybe they keep it up. They found a recipe. I'll take them at a pick 'em price, Brian. Next game.
All right, buddy, let me just honestly, I did play San Jose. I stayed away from Edmonton.
Yeah.
Because Arizona had been so bad, right? But listen, Cam, this stuff, right? Neither one of us are very smart. Is that fair?
Yeah, I disagree, but yeah, sometimes.
Okay, well, you're not that stupid.
No.
Wait a minute. No,
we're not that stupid. No.
Okay, but Cam, I mean, honestly, it's like Oklahoma playing Baylor.
Yeah.
And the game goes to overtime, right? And then they go and play Rice. right?
Yes, exactly.
And next week they're playing Texas.
Yep.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? This is stuff we talk about in all sports, right? Well, Edmonton and Calgary played a game the league was talking about with goalie fights and
Yep.
But neither one of them had a lick of energy. They both drove off the cliff like Thelma and Louise in common sense letdown spots, and San Jose gets the win over Calgary. Don't overthink this stuff. It's like it's right there. It's on a platter right in front of your eyes.
You're right, but I'll tell you one thing. This next game, though, Calgary, after that, they're going to come back and beat Nashville.
And Nashville's a dog's breakfast.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'll take Calgary. And now you look at it, you're getting almost a pick-em price. Give me the Flames in that spot. I think that looks real good. You're right. These teams killed each other with the penalties, goalie fights, everything. It took all out of them. The Battle of Alberta is back. There's true hate there. But now, Calgary, you're giving me a price of 15 cents against Nashville, and they're at home in a spot where they need a win. Give me the Flames big time. I love that pick.
Well, okay, but here's the difference. The Flames are 15 cents against the Preds, and the Sharks are coming off a win, and the Oilers are $1.95 against the Sharks.
Yeah, that's too high.
That's way too high. I mean, it'd be puck line or nothing on Edmonton for me, but
for sure. Yeah, you do parlays. You can throw Edmonton in a parlay. They'll win this game probably against SJ Sharkey, but laying $2. Like, see, this is the thing. These lines are really weird. We think Colorado's too low at $1.80. Edmonton should be about $1.65. They're $1.95, 30 cents too high against San Jose. But I think Edmonton, I think both Alberta teams bounce back, but I'm not laying $1.95. You're right, Brian. It's either got to be regulation, -1.5 or parlayed. But I'm going to be on both Alberta teams after they cacked out when we thought they would.
All right, so it's a big card tomorrow. I'll narrow it down for me. I think Jersey and Philly. I like that over 6. I like Vancouver, Minnesota. Cross your fingers over 5.5, but probably over 6. And I can't not do it because I said as soon as Arizona wins, I got to get on Arizona at a pick-em price. I'll take Arizona at home against Carolina. That would be my trifecta of choices. What do you think?
I agree with you. I'm going to add Calgary to that card. I like Colorado and parlays against Ottawa at that price at 80 cents as a value. And where else am I going? Our dog. I think we got to I'm going to take a shot with the Detroit Red Wings against Buffalo at +$2. I have to. And you said you might even take a shot with the Penguins because there's going to be a couple pooches that come through, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you I like a lot of them on the card. But, yeah, like the first 4 games, like Pittsburgh, New Jersey, Detroit, guys, if you like dogs, I think this could be the night where the dogs really come barking. And I think Detroit at $2 is ludicrous against a Buffalo team that looks like a high school team right now.
All right, coach me. Of the 3, which one do you like best? Jersey, Philly over, Vancouver, Minnesota over, or Arizona? Of those 3.
Of the totals?
Of those 3 plays. Arizona to win, Vancouver, Minnesota over, or Jersey, Philly over. Right? If you had to say, okay, yeah, I like those plays. Which one do you like best?
Vancouver, Minnesota over.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I think Vancouver's head's kind of half on the plane going home.
For sure. And you said it, like we're looking at advanced lines. It might be 5.5. If it's 5.5, we love it. And 6, we love it too. And maybe we'll get some take back, buddy.
All right, my brother. We're in Las Vegas. By the way, Cam, want to thank all the people that have been
Me too.
finding a way to find us. So and we love it. We're on the uptick here.
Tell your family. Hopefully, if we hit winners, you'll keep on tuning in. And if not that, just for the bad jokes, right, Brian?
We're due to tell a funny one.
Exactly. Well, I'll see you soon, buddy. I guess we'll play some ponies, and we're going to be playing some more hockey tonight. That's for sure, buddy. The trip never ends.
All right, give me one good horse sound on the way out the door. Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. Hey, we hope you like what you're hearing, and if you do, hit the subscribe button and give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and/or interpersonal relationships. At BetChrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling. And do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.